Now, I never intended on making videos covering this show because I honestly didn't think I would need to. I honestly didn't think I would need to because I figured, because I knew going in that the premise of this show doesn't work. The premise of this show didn't make sense. And I figured the majority of the Star Wars fan base would have known the exact same thing. Okay? And I wouldn't have to make videos explaining how the premise of this show doesn't make any sense and how the premise of the show doesn't work. But apparently I do. Okay? Because again, going in, the premise of the show is supposed to be about Obi-Wan hiding out on Tatooine. Well, how are you going to make a show out of that? What's the show going to be? Obi-Wan learning how to be a hermit? Obi-Wan learning how to deal with the Tusken Raiders, a la, Boba Fett? Again, it was only 6 episodes. What were they going to do? Have it that the majority of the show was going to be about how Obi-Wan learns that Tusken Raiders are superstitious, okay, and learns how to use that call in A New Hope or whatever? What's the show going to be about? How is the show going to work? Oh, the show goes easy. We're going to actually make that entire premise and reason for Obi-Wan being on Tatooine irrelevant. We're going to say, screw it. We're just going to have Obi-Wan go anywhere anyway. Well, if that's the case, why the hell even have Obi-Wan on Tatooine in the first place? The show could have literally have had Obi-Wan be on any planet in the universe. If he didn't have to be on Tatooine. The only reason this show had Obi-Wan on Tatooine was so that they could have a 10-second scene of a 10-year-old Luke. That's it. That's the only reason Obi-Wan is on Tatooine. He could have been on it because apparently, oh shoot, I forget Leia's father's character. Jimmy Smith's character. I can't remember his name. But he could have called him on any planet in the universe because apparently, the long distance calls in the universe are just in Star Wars are universal. So Obi-Wan could have been on any planet going, I need to hide. And then Leia's father goes, well, I need you to save Leia. Okay, I'll leave. So the fact that he was on Tatooine is literally irrelevant. Okay? The whole point of why Obi-Wan is supposed to be on Tatooine, the show goes, we don't give a shit. We need Obi-Wan to go somewhere else. And not only that, it's the reason, and then not only does the show go to hell with Obi-Wan even being on Tatooine, the first episode actually makes Obi-Wan being on Tatooine irrelevant. Because he's on Tatooine. The reason he picked Tatooine, okay, is that if there is a center of the universe, Tatooine is the furthest from there. It's supposed to be an out of the world nothing, a place that nobody would purposely want to go to. That's why he picked Tatooine, okay? You have Inquisitors who went to Tatooine not even for Obi-Wan. They went for a lesser Jedi who just is looking for Obi-Wan. Like, there are 3 Jedi in episode 1. In episode 1, okay? There are 2 plus 1 potential Jedi on Tatooine, okay? And these Inquisitors have no idea on how to actually track and identify, Jedi. Because again, I don't know much about the Inquisitors. My only knowledge are the movies, and so I don't know much about the Inquisitors. But I'm going, wouldn't one of the abilities of the Inquisitors be the ability to be able to track and hunt Jedi? But apparently, no, because that would make sense. That would work. So again, he goes on Tatooine Obi-Wan goes to Tatooine. The show invalidates actually going on Tatooine. And the show and the first episode invalidates why he was there in the goddamn first place. There was no point. But then we have the detractors of this show, and they're explaining that the problem with the premise of this show is the relationship between Obi-Wan and Leia. And I'm going, okay, good. I don't have to make a video because they figured it out. Until I actually heard what their problem is between the relationship with Leia and Obi-Wan. And I'm going, this is why I have to make this video, because I actually have to explain why the relationship between Leia and Obi-Wan doesn't make sense, doesn't work, destroys the entire premise of this show. Because apparently, here's the problem with the relationship between Obi-Wan and Leia. Because in 9 years, in A New Hope, how does Leia forget Obi-Wan? Because apparently, in the message that Leia sent Obi-Wan, she didn't reference, it wasn't very personal. It was very formal and stuff. And I'm going, first of all, this is 9 years later. The only memory that she would have, according to what we know so far, the only memory she would have of Obi-Wan was an incident 9 years ago. So why would Leia reference a one-time thing that happened 9 years ago? She would literally assume Obi-Wan wouldn't remember her, but Obi-Wan would remember her father because they fought together in the Clone Wars, a much more significant memory or situation that Obi-Wan would remember. So the fact that so the idea of Leia forgetting Obi-Wan isn't the problem. The problem is, how the hell does Obi-Wan not remember Leia? Because of this scene in Empire Strikes Back.
Told you I did. Reckless as he. Now, matches are worse.
That boy is our last hope.
No. There is another.
Now, in this scene, this is a very important scene, boys and girls, because in this scene, Obi-Wan is telling Yoda that Luke was their last hope in defeating the Empire. Luke was the last hope in defeating Emperor Palpatine. And Yoda goes, no, there is another. Well, Yoda is referencing Leia. Well, guess what, boys and girls? According to this show and the prequels, not only does Obi-Wan know that Leia exists, he knows she's Anakin's daughter! Oops! He knows that Leia has just as much access, the ability of access to the Force, as Luke would. So it's not how does Leia not remember Obi-Wan? How the hell does Obi-Wan not know that Leia exists? Okay, there's your continuity problem, you morons. There's your continuity issue that breaks the premise of this show. Oh, not to mention, okay, this show, okay, takes place 9 years, okay, before A New Hope, okay? So explain to me, Disney, explain to me, George Lucas, explain to me, you Star Wars fanboys, how Obi-Wan in 9 years, okay, goes from this to this in 9 years. In 9 years, how does Obi-Wan go from Ewan McGregor to Alec Guinness? Oops. Now again, I can't, it's not Ewan McGregor's fault that, you know, he's that age. But again, this is the show. This is the prequels. This is George Lucas. This is Disney going, you don't give a rat's ass about continuity. We only you know, incorporate it when it conveniences us. This show can go to hell. The prequels can go to hell. I hate the prequels, and I know it's not about the prequels, but this show continues off from the prequels and incorporates it, so there's going to be crossover, sorry. But you see, here's the thing. You actually have to watch the original trilogy to know this, okay? So I apologize. This is not just going to be me tearing apart the show. It's going to be me ranting about the show and ranting about the Star Wars fan base. I mean, for the love of God, like, this is obvious. For anybody that's actually again, I'm sorry I'm going on a rant, but I have to, again, this is one of the reasons I even made this video in the first place, okay? So I can rant and call out you bullshit artists, okay? Yeah, if you, the actual plot premise breaking aspect of this show is that there is no way after this show Obi-Wan would have told Yoda that Luke was their only hope. It doesn't make any sense. That line invalidates the entire premise of this show. And yes, it invalidates the prequels, which is fine because the prequels were just a piece of shit. The prequels were... I don't care that the prequels were also done by George Lucas. He screwed up the prequels, okay? Sorry, he screwed them up. He broke his own continuity with the prequels. So, yeah, it's just... So, but then we... So first off, the entire premise of this show is broken. It doesn't make any sense. It's irrelevant. This show shouldn't exist, okay? It doesn't make any sense with the continuity of the Star Wars lore, okay? But here's the thing. So let's get to the show itself. Now, I'm watching the show because, again, I have to do that. I have to watch the show to explain to you people, you know, you idiots, how stupid this show is. Now, it's supposed to be 6 episodes, right? And just in episode 1, there's already maybe 20 minutes of filler, okay? And here's why I'm bringing this up. Because, again, the first episode alone is already got filler in it, which means the show doesn't have enough story to actually fill 6 episodes. And the solution so many people have is that since there wasn't enough story in 6 episodes, they should have made it 9 episodes or 12 episodes. And it's like, why? If in 6 episodes, they only have 4 episodes worth of story, and they have 2 episodes worth of filler, if they extend it to 9 episodes, okay, it'll still have only 4 episodes worth of story, but now it'll require 5 episodes of filler. You fans, you delusional fanboys have this delusion that if they were to make 3 new episodes, those 3 new episodes would have entirely new story. Well, if they had entirely new story, why wouldn't they incorporate it into the 6 episodes that has so much filler in it in the first place? So if they were to take this 6 episode series, okay, and extend it to 9 episodes, it would still only have 4 episodes worth of story, but now it would still just have as much, it would have more filler. It would still be the same story, and it still would be not enough information. And then after 9 episodes, you would have gone, oh, it needs to be 12. So I want to explain that the idea of saying it needs more episodes to fill out the story is stupid, Because if they had story in the first place, it would have been in the original set number of episodes, as opposed to having so much filler in the first place. Now, you're probably wondering, what filler could I possibly be talking about in episode 1? Now, what I'm going to bring up, you fans of this show and you Star Wars apologists are going to try and dismiss as nitpicking or me bitching for the sake of bitching. Except the problem is, I'm going to actually be establishing how the majority of this show is filler. Because the show, the majority of scenes on their own are not filler. They work. They make sense. Showing how Obi-Wan is, kind of incorporating himself into like the menial job, trying to stay low, introducing the Inquisitors, having that Jedi looking for him, and him interacting with that Jedi, him interacting with Owen. All of those scenes in and of themselves are valid and they work and they make sense. Except the reason they're filler is because the show ends up making them filler. Because by the end of because it's not like the show sets up Obi-Wan's way of life and incorporates it as part of the main storyline. What it does is by the end of the first episode goes, yeah, all that stuff that we did with Obi-Wan is irrelevant. We're not actually, it's empty. Because we're not going to actually incorporate it. Because we're now going off-world to go after Leia. Hence, the end of the episode, by having Obi-Wan leave Tatooine, made everything that happened in the first episode irrelevant. The show literally ends up making all of the interactions, all of the things that they had with Obi-Wan as filler. Because all you had to do, okay, is spend not even 2-3 minutes of just having Obi-Wan on some planet. And all he's doing is talking about how he's laying low. Doesn't have to have a job, doesn't have to be commuting to work. He's just laying low and just trying to stay inconspicuous and not have anybody know who he is. Okay? During that, because again, that's the only thing that's relevant in this story, is that Obi-Wan is trying to lay low. Whether it's on Tatooine or some other planet is irrelevant by the end of the episode. So you could have just had Obi-Wan just being on some planet, spending 2-3 minutes, I'll even give you 5, okay, talking about how Obi-Wan is just trying to lay low and hide, okay, and interspersed between those 5 minutes, you have the scenes with Princess Leia and some of the scenes with the Inquisitors, and then at the end of it, you have it that Princess Leia is captured. Leia's father goes to Obi-Wan and say, hey, can you go rescue my daughter? Obi-Wan goes, sure. That's 20 minutes. That's the setup. Now have the actual story start. Have the adventure start. What should have been the first act of episode 1 ends up being the entire episode, and you now have to watch episode 2 to actually have the story start. Hence, like 30 minutes of episode 1 is filler. The show ends up invalidating. Because again, you have the scene of Obi-Wan going to work. Who cares that he goes to work? It's not going to be relevant to him trying to save Leia. It's not part of the story. His interactions with the Jedi is irrelevant because he dies at the end of the episode anyway, and he goes anyway. His interactions with Owen are irrelevant. His interaction with the Jawa is irrelevant. Him getting the I love the reference of he buys, oh shoot, I forget the name of the name of the ship of the toy, right? Because if I remember correctly, there's a scene in A New Hope where you see Luke playing with it on Han Solo's ship. So they're literally so in this show they have Obi-Wan get a broken version of that, a broken toy version of that ends up getting thrown out, which obviously isn't the toy that he's playing with because it's on Luke's ship. And the show is going, hey, let's inject an Easter egg and a reference that literally makes no sense. Here's the other one. Okay, so he has the job in the desert. I will get how stupid and forced that is. But, so they have it that he's in the desert doing the cutting up of that beast or whatever, right? So that they could, and the reason that they're having that in the middle of the desert, and it's miles away from town. Why? Because they want to show Obi-Wan doing the commute, show Obi-Wan kind of sitting with all the other people in the transporters, kind of being drudgery, like going on the bus. Again, I get it. But then he gets to town. Does he have a house in town? No. He goes to that one area where his mount is. I don't know what the name of that creature is, right? And I'm going, why? Well, they want him to have that mount so that he can now go out and another area, miles in the desert, so that he can go to his cave. Well, because he's a hermit in A New Hope. So hermits live in caves. Well, guess what, Disney? Hermits also don't have jobs either. Okay? That's why they're hermits. They've actually shunned being part of society. So this is the show going, the only reason he has a cave in the middle of the desert is because don't hermits, live in the middle of the desert? He's not a hermit yet. If he has a job and again, this is the show going, we're just going to use whatever reference we want. We don't care if it doesn't make sense. We don't care how forced it is. We don't care how stupid it is. Then we have the fact, because not only that, so Obi-Wan gets to town, right? And he sees his mount. And I'm going, so let me see if I get this straight. Okay, because again, what's his day? Did he wake up? He must have had to have woken up at 4 o'clock in the morning to ride the mount to town because it's not the fastest thing out there. It sure as hell takes its time. Gets there, leaves the mount there all day while he goes to work. Now, he's in Mos Eisley. Now, if I remember correctly, I believe Mos Eisley is a den of scum and villainy. But that's okay. You can leave your mount unattended in a den of scum and villainy, and apparently no one's going to steal your mount. And the only thing I can think of on why they did that is either one, the writers didn't even think about it to even incorporate it, or two, they didn't care. But then again, that doesn't even make any sense because apparently he's got some kind of security system for his cave in the middle of the desert, but we don't actually know how his security system works, and it's not really that good anyway because the Jawa is able to go in anyway. So it's because Obi-Wan goes to the Jawa, if you're going to sell me back the thing you stole, at least, give me a fair price. So even his security system sucks because a Jawa can go in and steal it. The Jawas could, the show literally establishes that the Jawas can rob him blind. That Jawa didn't just have to steal that one little piece. Those Jawas could have robbed him blind. But the thing is, they only wanted that Jawa to steal that one thing so that they could have Obi-Wan say that funny line. And the show doesn't care that it literally established that the Jawa can now enter his cave and steal anything they wanted. They don't care. They don't care that they're literally breaking the concept. The show doesn't care how stupid it is to get a scene. The show doesn't care how forced it is to get a certain line. It goes, hey, we have this funny line where Obi-Wan can tell the Jawa, if you're going to steal from me, make it, sell it back to me at a fair price. Well, how did the Jawa, break in? Didn't we establish that he has a security system? Yeah, no, we're going to ignore that because otherwise we can't get that funny line from Obi-Wan. But then we have the Inquisitors, okay? 90% of the scenes with the Inquisitors are irrelevant because the only thing of story-wise that is necessary about the Inquisitors is one, they hunt Jedi. They show up in threes, okay? They don't know that Obi-Wan is even on the planet. They don't even know Luke is on the planet, okay? The third sister, I think that character's name is Vera. She's got a hard-on for Obi-Wan, right? And she's insubordinate. That's it. That can literally be established in one scene. You got this scene where she's in the town square, whatever, where Owen is, right? And of all the people, they have her threatened. They have her threaten the one that has absolutely no consequence. She's threatening Owen. Well, guess what, show? We know she's not going to kill Owen, and we know she's not going to kill his family. So actually threatening Owen made no sense. Then we have the fact that this is the hilarious part. They're trying to establish that the third sister, again, I'm going to call her Vera. If I'm wrong, I apologize. I'm not going back to check out the episode to make sure I got the name right. They're trying to establish that she's this tough, dangerous, intimidating character. And they have her facing up against Owen. And Uncle Owen, is eyeballing this bitch. A simple farmer is eyeballing and staring down this Inquisitor. I hate to break it to you, show. That doesn't establish her as an intimidating character. Okay? When you have a simple farmer eyeballing and staring down somebody who's ready and willing to kill you, it doesn't help in establishing she's intimidating. So that entire scene could have been thrown out and it would have actually improved her character development as opposed to keeping it in. Because at the end, again, even with the Jedi that is trying to find Obi-Wan, the only reason that Jedi is there, okay, is so that Obi-Wan can go, take your lightsaber, bury it in the middle of the sand, and forget about it. Because that's what we see Obi-Wan end up doing. Because they get to the tavern. They get to the tavern where the young Jedi is, right? And what do? He escapes. Because this is how the young Jedi escapes. Why? Because the show wants him to escape. The show literally has a scene of Reva, that's her goddamn name, Reva. I keep saying Vera. The show literally has Vera walking up to him and going, what do I do? What do I do? She's literally stumped. You have these are the Inquisitors, boys and girls, and you have Reva, who's supposed to be the main villain of this show, stumped by this thing in front of her. And to make matters worse, you have the other Inquisitor. He literally goes around it. And I go, okay, you went around it, good. Go after him, chase him. Run, Forrest, run!
Run, Inquisitor.
Run! Like what? The Inquisitors don't know how to run? The Inquisitors don't run, apparently. Again, the show doesn't give a rat's ass how forced and stupid it is. That young Jedi was going to escape, and it was not only that. What is it, like 10 seconds earlier, 5 seconds earlier? The scene starts with Reva is about to kill the young Jedi with the lightsaber, right? And the Grand Inquisitor, I think that's his name, the Grand Inquisitor, right? The show actually shows the Grand Inquisitor using telekinetic force powers to stop Reva from killing the young Jedi. Well, as the young Jedi's, running away, hey, here's an idea, Grand Inquisitor. Use your telekinetic force powers to trip them up. Well, no, you can't do that. That would make sense. That would work. But no, the show doesn't give a shit how stupid it is. Show doesn't give a shit how forced it is. They wanted that young Jedi to escape, and he's gonna escape. Hence, making the entire scene irrelevant and makes them look more incompetent than they are. Like, I'm supposed to consider these Inquisitors a threat, dangerous. I mean, they can't even catch a fledgling Jedi. Okay, they don't even have the ability. They can only find Jedi based off of rumors they heard off planet. They have no ability to track, no ability to sense Jedi, nothing. Bounty, the Mandalorian. You know what? Forget the Inquisitors. Hire Mando. Apparently, he's more competent than the Inquisitors are. So the only point of the Inquisitors, because again, by the end of the episode, none of the Inquisitors know that Obi-Wan or Luke are on planet. The third sister's plan, okay, is let's capture Leia, have her father contact Obi-Wan and flush him out. So it doesn't matter what planet Obi-Wan is on. Obi-Wan could be on any planet. So it's not like they killed the young Jedi, and found out that Obi-Wan was on Tatooine. Because if that was the case, she would have stayed on Tatooine to go try and find him. So the actual young Jedi is irrelevant to the story. Sorry. Owen's scenes are irrelevant. There's so much of this episode that is filler and stupid, especially how the young Jedi escapes. Then we have Obi-Wan, right? Why would he kept, like, he's got the one box with all the, he's got the box, okay, that has the cell phone that apparently allows Leia's father to communicate with him. That he kept, but he buried his lightsabers in the middle of the desert. Why? So that you could have a scene of him digging in the middle of the desert and getting his thing. How does he even, I'm sorry, there's no landmarks. How the hell did he even remember where it was? He should have gone to the rough area and is going, okay, where the hell did I bury this shit? Yeah, but they don't care. The show doesn't care. The show needs these filler scenes to pad out the episode. That's the biggest problem. Well, that's one of the biggest problems with this show, is it's all padding. And they don't care how stupid it is. And they don't care how forced it is. Like with the, that giant whale beast in the middle of the desert. It just died. It's just in the middle. It was, apparently, swimming on the top of the sand, and then just went, yeah, I'm dead. But they don't care that it doesn't make any sense. They don't care how it doesn't work. They needed to have a reason for, Obi-Wan to be miles away from town so that they could show the commuting scene. And then we have the fact that at the end of every day, he cuts some meat and steals it. Now, he steals the meat to feed it to his mount. And here's why I'm bringing this up. Because it's a nothing scene. It's a meaningless scene. There's literally no reason to show Obi-Wan feeding the meat to the mount. There is none. Okay? But they want a scene. This show wants a scene of Obi-Wan feeding the meat to this mount. Now, I know it's a nothing scene. That's what makes this hilarious. So they want to have that scene. How do they get it so that Obi-Wan gets the meat to the mount? Easy. He just steals it. He just cuts a piece and it's fine. Now you're going, well, what's the big deal? Well, how? Like, how is he getting away with it? Like, is he using his force powers to hide the fact that nobody can notice that he's stealing the meat? No, he's just stealing the meat. He's just waiting till everybody leaves, and he just cuts the meat and he steals it. Well, okay, does everybody steal meat? No. Apparently, only Obi-Wan is stealing meat. Okay? And why does he only steal a little bit? Steal a big chunk. Add it to your stew or whatever. This is why this show is so infuriating. I know it's a nothing scene. That's the point. The show literally incorporates a nothing scene and doesn't even know how to actually make that nothing scene work. It's the show going, we want it that Obi-Wan gets to steal meat. We don't know how he's stealing meat. We don't know how he gets away with it. We don't know why he's the only one stealing meat. We don't give a shit. We don't care. We don't know. We're going to have it that Obi-Wan steals some meat for no reason, for a nothing scene to feed it to his mouth. I'm not harping on it because it's like, oh, him feeding the, why are you caring about the fact that he's feeding the meat to his mouth? No, it's yet another example of the show going, we want a scene of, Obi-Wan feeding his mouth, and we don't know and we don't care how we get to that. We're going to do whatever the hell we want, and we're going to do it. And that is yet another example, okay? I know it's a small one, but it's still another example of the show going, we're going to do whatever the hell we want, and we don't care. Because they're relying on the fact that you as an audience, you don't care either. Because again, it's the same formula that they used in The Mandalorian, and it's the same formula that they used in Book of Boba Fett. They're just going to do whatever the hell they want. They don't care how big a problem it is. They don't care how small it is. They're just going to do whatever they want. And whatever. This show is just... I wish... It's annoying that you have to shut your brain off to even a nothing scene, a nothing insignificant scene. You still have to turn your brain off because this show screws that up. Like that's why I'm bringing it up. I'm bringing it up to go, even a small, insignificant nothing scene, the writers of this show don't even know how to accomplish that. What makes you think they're going to be able to accomplish it with the main plot, with the main story? Oh, wait, they're not. They can't. They're just going to have whatever they want happen, and they're going to rely that you as an audience don't care. It's just... the only other big thing that I can think of, because I'm pretty much done. Just reviewing the stupid and incompetence of this show is draining me. But the only other big issue is what most people already know about with Princess Leia and her kind of evading the kidnappers and them being bumbling idiots. And but see, here's what gets me though. It's not so much that the scene is stupid, that it's so forced that Leia is able to, evade the kidnappers, but there's no payoff. It's not like she ends up escaping anyway. They capture her anyway. So what this show did is the show's going, the kidnappers are gonna capture Leia anyway. Let's add a scene that makes us look like incompetent idiots who have no idea what we're doing for no reason. Like that again. There's no. That's what gets me about the kidnappers' incompetence in being able to catch Leia. there's no payoff. It just makes the writers look like a bunch of idiots. And again, if Leia had escaped, at least there was a reason the writers are publicly showing how incompetent they are. But again, there's no payoff. So it's like, and there's tons of other stuff, but I'm done. I'm drained. I don't care anymore. And this is just episode 1, and I'm this pissed off over episode 1. Could you imagine the rest of hopefully the rest of the episodes are actually competent and are going to be good. I'm not betting money on it, but we'll see. Anyway, thanks for making it this far in the video, if you've made it this far. For those of you who actually subscribe, for whatever reason you subscribe to my channel, I'm not really making that many videos because I'm kind of in the middle of a game, and I kind of once I get into a game, it gets to the point where it's like, do I want to play the game or do I want to sleep? Do I want to play the game or do I want to eat? Do I want to play the game or do I want to go to the bathroom? And most of the time, playing the game wins. So when we got in the list of eating, sleeping, and going to the bathroom, making videos isn't even in the top, doesn't even make it. So the only reason I made this video is I ended up hearing other people, the detractors of this show, and their pathetic, useless, dumbass, irrelevant complaints of this show. So of course I have to make a video explaining why this show actually sucks, because apparently the majority of you aren't able to figure it out on your own. Anyway, I'm done. I'm out of here. See ya.